sir. What's going on?
What it do? What it do?
Team No Sleep, folks. March
Yeah,
1st.
absolutely.
I know folks probably watching. You got two screens going right now. They're probably watching Biden talk to the nation, so that's important as well. But we got some conversations that we want to have with you as well because we think this is
Absolutely.
relevant.
Absolutely, man. I think we got to definitely coincide with what Biden's doing, and how this is not only affecting us as our country,
Yeah.
as the world is being affected by it. It's affecting things as far as sports, and we got to acknowledge that. From our view and from our lens, we see that Russia is dead wrong, 100% wrong.
Mm-hmm.
On what they're doing, but I mean, also, our president's now acknowledging it and putting us on alert, putting us up on game what's about to happen or what's not going to happen.
Yes, sir.
And we'll rock with that.
Yeah, so I mean, and that's the truth, right? That's social impact right there. We can start with that, and there are some sports ramifications to what's going on with that because we're hearing a lot of news about Russian athletes, Russian leagues being banned or can't play.
Yes.
Right, the national hockey. I mean, yeah, some hockey players from Russia are getting heckled and getting threatened, and what was it? I believe the tennis squad, some other teams also from Russia, right, are being ostracized and not being allowed to play. Talk to us about what you think about that, right? The sports world stepping up and making some noise and saying y'all can't play with us as well after what's going on right now in Ukraine.
Yeah, I think it's the right move to send a message to Russia. Unfortunately, they have to be the pawns in this, but they're also they're the international figures that we know.
Yeah.
I don't agree with the heckling of the guys from Russia that are playing in the National Hockey League that are over here in our soil. I don't think they per se have anything to do with it. I don't even think I don't even know if they agree or disagree with what's going on.
Right.
So I don't know about that, but I do believe
association kind of is what that is guilty by.
Yeah, brother, we know that. We know that for sure.
Yes, sir. Right,
that's
on,
what it
is.
Based on our background and our nationality.
Yeah.
But I do believe with them, the international play. I think it's the right thing to do. I mean, and you got to also understand, if they were to play, think about what things that could possibly happen to them. They would be in danger.
True.
If they were to play. So I think it's right on both ends. Don't get me wrong. I think banning their national soccer team, women and men's, banning their national hockey leagues, banning their national play or their international play from going on. I believe that's the right thing to do because people that are against it can harm those people that like I said, they may not agree with Putin at all and what they're doing. But the fact of the matter is that they represent that country, they can be in danger. So that's another reality, and it all end of all. We don't want nobody dead, man. We don't want.
That's true.
I don't care where you're from. I don't want to see nobody hurt or no one dead. But unfortunately, in these times and what we're going through, this is the reality now we live in.
Just don't know what's going to happen. Just prayers up for everyone that's involved, indirectly and directly. It's sad truth is it's going to get worse. Right, for everybody involved, especially after Biden gets done sitting down and just because Putin is watching, but we're not a political show, but we talk about social impact things, so we're not gonna go too deep into that. But again, just be cognizant, folks. There are things happening in the world that you need to raise up a little bit and take notice of, and just be aware of what's going on the planet. So.
And also, to add to that, James, I think people need to be aware of the Russian communities that are in some of these cities. Let's be cognizant of them. I mean, some of those people, let's not believe what TV says. TV makes Russian people look like they're all criminals and gangsters and spies and all that stuff, and that's not the truth. I mean, some of those, those people are hardworking people just like we are.
That's a good
They're
point.
immigrants just like here, trying to make a better life for themselves, just like everybody else. So I hope people don't take the initiative to kind of harass those people at all, just based on because of where they're from. Because if that's the case, they would be harassing all of us because none of us are from here. We're all imported. If you want to be, let's keep it real.
Go ahead.
The only people that's from here is Native American. We all imported.
Go ahead. So, now. Yeah, we know how unfortunately we got here, but okay, I see where you're going. I see where you're going.
So I would hope people don't take that initiative to do anything to harm anybody. If anything, take this opportunity to have healthy conversation and understand where they're coming from and what's going on. and get it and get the view through their lens and see what's going on, so you can have a better understanding.
Yeah. Not a lot of order, I'm gonna say today for tonight's show, but I will say, you know, we got a couple of topics that we would go on, and in terms of when I said not a lot of order, right? Just didn't have the opportunity to actually come up with a full runner show, and in terms of specific topics, got a handful of them. We're gonna dive into them, and yeah, like we just talked about the Russian players and what's going on there. You brought up the one about Art Browse. I want to save that for third. Next, I want to talk about what's happened literally today with Major League Baseball. Ooh. And Major League Baseball canceling the first two series because the players and the Players Association and the league, the owners, couldn't come to a final consensus in terms of how much money everybody gets. I err on the side of the players, just because I err on the side of the players, and instead of the billionaires that are out there trying to keep every single penny that they get from merchandising and the gate and the concession and all this. Man, what do you think about it? This is a sad day for baseball, just for the fact that the commissioner of baseball had to come out and say they are canceling opening day. I don't even know if spring training is happening, to be honest with you.
No spring training is happening.
Right? That's all. And again, that's crazy talk, right? So all this is going on, and it's just unfortunate. What do you think about this, man? I'm not sure if you even saw this.
Yeah, I mean, I've been following it. Major League Baseball has they have an issue. They have a real issue in on the money side. Owners don't want to give up anymore.
Yeah,
and players want more. But I will give it to the I was watching a couple of programs kind of talking about it. Major League Baseball players are paid. They got the highest bankroll of every professional sport in the United States.
Cap. Yeah, there's no cap.
Yeah. They got the highest bankroll. So their players are making a lot of money. But people don't understand professional baseball is in layers. Now, major leaguers make money, but AAA, AA, single A don't make money.
Yeah,
and it all comes out of the same pot, which people don't understand. They thought it comes out of the owner's pot throughout the money they give out to the organization for them to filtrate it all the way through in and out. So there's a lot of money that's being spent that they don't recoup, which I get. But again, we're arguing over money, over penny, over they're playing. You got to think these billionaires are playing. This is just a game to them. This is like Monopoly to them. They build their baseball teams just to say they own it, to go out there and play. They win the World Series and do all that. It's all good. At the end of the day, it's all profit sharing. It goes in a big bucket. They divide it amongst the owners. They make their money. They divide the billions of dollars up. So we get that part. Players do deserve more, in a sense. I'm not actually saying money, but I do believe games should be scaled back. They shouldn't have to pay 100. They shouldn't have to play 100 and some odd 60 some odd games.
Yeah.
I do believe there needs to be better medical coverage for them. I do believe they need to have a pension for people that used to play and don't have money no more, or they did some unfortunate situation had. Also, medical expenses for that beyond. Beyond that, I'm almost on the side of the owners with the salary thing, man. I don't think the salaries need to go up. I think they just need to provide better benefits and things on the side to say, hey, in the long term, we're still going to take care of you no matter what happens.
That's a good point. Okay. I mean, I like that perspective as well. And for folks, I've got this on the screen here the last time that we actually had those lockouts and those strikes. Man, I remember 94, 95. I was deep into baseball at that time, and that was, I was, I had my mitt and everything. I was rooting for my players too, and that lockout, that 948 games lost. Good Lord, hopefully we don't go through that right now again.
Nah, I don't think it's gonna go to that. I think it's too much money to be lost for them to do that.
Yeah,
and you guys, and I think people got to understand though, money comes from TV generated.
Yeah.
Now it's not so much the ticket sales. It's the memorabilia and the TV. Baseball, to me, and what we talked about this before, they've done a horrible job marketing. Just like basketball with the WNBA. Baseball has done a horrible job. I think that baseball needs to do something to kickstart themselves. And the first thing you got to do is take care of your players. That's the first thing. You got to take care of them and figure out what they want to do. Once they do that, I think they gotta push the restart button to figure out somehow how to market themselves generate themselves and make baseball in thing now. Because right now, baseball is an afterthought. You know, when it comes to the major sports, it's third now. You know,
you've always said you think that baseball has kind of missed their mark in terms of just promoting and marketing, especially to the kids, right? Because no one, you, and I'm gonna speak for you, but you said, you know, no one wants to sit through a 3-hour game, and no, I mean that is a long time. I love the game and all that, but 3 hours is a long time, and if the only break in the game is a 7th inning stretch where you get up and go get some peanuts and popcorn, man, you got to do something a little different. So I hear what you're saying on that, and just compared it to an NBA or to an NFL games or to a football game or to a basketball game. The pace of the game is definitely an issue. The pace of the game is definitely an issue. When you're used to seeing someone like a Steph Curry, LeBron James, or someone like Aaron Rodgers, someone out there lighting it up out there on their respective field. When you just waiting for 45 seconds and it's just a duel. It's a battle between the pitcher and the batter, and all they're doing is spitting all the time. It's not a good look.
I just think that they haven't done a great job of enlightening us with the history of baseball, how it is, and why it is strategic, and why they do the things they do, and why they play the things they do. Why they do the things they do while they're playing.
Right.
I mean, like I said, baseball is only interesting to me when it becomes the playoffs and mainly the World Series. Otherwise, during the regular season, I mean, you can say that for all sports, but definitely for baseball, it's like, man, it's like watching paint dry. They don't, except for when they did the game on the Field of Dreams. Like, I was like, oh, that's cool.
Yeah, because
they're doing some different things. So I think baseball needs to figure out a niche and do something to say, hey, we need to come up with something creative and go. I think the problem with baseball is they don't have a face.
Yeah,
baseball doesn't have a face. Every other sport has a face. LeBron is the face of the NBA. Aaron Rodgers or Tom Brady was the face of the NFL. Who's the face of baseball? I don't even know. I don't even know.
Because it changes, right? Because it was Trout for a while. It was probably Big Papi for a minute, but now he's gone. You're right. It's very haphazard, very quick. Who is leading the charge from a marketing side? And baseball really doesn't have that. Anybody in the comments, if you can think of someone who may be that it person for baseball, we'd love to hear that. But I can't think of anyone who is.
It's no face of it, and I'm tired of, like I said, and then baseball has a lot of issues with the pastime. What I'm saying? They have an issue, like we said, with Barry Bonds and Pete Rose not getting in. We still have an issue with the Negro League. We still, those guys aren't been inducted the way they should have been, or being counted in those same realms, or being celebrated, the way they should be doing. I think there's not enough celebration of Latin players. It's an influx of Latin players in baseball, yet there's not a lot of celebration about Latin players. Only when they do good or hit home runs, you get sound bites because of their broken English or whatnot, but we just get sound bites and that's it. Let's celebrate their culture, celebrate where they do it, how they do it, where they're at, in order to cultivate the whole sport. I just think they've done a horrible job of doing that. I think they just think it's going to lie, but it's going to survive just because it's baseball. And I think they're starting to see that it doesn't. Now, baseball can't tell me the numbers aren't suffering money-wise. I know, I don't know how the books look, but you can't tell me.
You don't want to look at the books, right?
If you look at 10 years ago, like I said, or actually longer than that, 20 years ago when the juice ball was there and when baseball was really exciting, I bet you the numbers were off the chart much money they was making, comparable to the money they're making now. So I just think they need to do some different things. But I don't believe they need to give them more money. I really don't. I think they need to figure out a way to say, we're going to take care of everybody in the long haul, because everybody wants to know, make sure, like, hey, when this is all over with, when I'm not making the millions of dollars anymore, God forbid something happens to me and my family where this money is going to be drained or gone, or I have health issues or whatnot, who's going to take care of me? And not only the major league guys, because they're pretty much taken care of. Let's talk about the AAA guys that made that their career. The AA guys that made that their career. The single A guys that are teetering between that, but that's their career. They played in that league for 20 years. They don't have anything.
That's true. So because if you think about it, 70% or whatever percentage of folks aren't going to get that call, right, to go from the Sacramento River Cats to go to the San Francisco Giants, because that's who kind of feeds into that organization. And most of them are going to stay there making 30, 40, 50. I don't know what the number is, $50,000 a year, and they live in California, and it's tough to.
So can you imagine that now? Now, say this is a guy that played basically. He's been trying to make major leagues and been somewhat successful, but he's been teetering through those three levels for the last 15 years. And now he tweaks his elbow. Can't play no more.
Yeah.
Where's his benefits at? Where where does he go? He shouldn't just have Kaiser. Yeah. No disrespect to Kaiser, but I'm saying you just can't give him Kaiser and say, hey, here you go.
Yeah.
This whole baseball anomaly is making billions and billions of dollars, and yet you're going to get one of his employees that was generate just a tiny bit of money, Kaiser, after he's done. I don't think that's fair, and I think that's one of the things. I don't know if that's being talked in that discussion with while they're going to lockout, but I think those are the discussions that players want to see. Like, hey, man, you don't have to cut the bigger checks, but you need to make sure, hey, there's something in the pot after the rainbow's over, when it's the end of the rainbow. I think that would be more than suffice for them to say, okay, let's work out a collective bargaining deal where we're going to make sure you guys are taking care of it. Money is filtrated all the way down, and make sure some of the current money is still filtrated all the way down, so we can say, hey, come to an agreement and kick off baseball.
I like it. And I'm sure it is, right? I would assume that it is, and I would hope that it is, because so many smart players, current and in the past, that have either gone through whatever. I mean, something like a CTE is not the same type of conversation in baseball as it is in football. But you're right. You still need to take care of benefits. You still need to take care of your teeth. You still need to do all out those other things, and just having that pension plans for when you get off the diamond.
Regardless of who you are and what grade shape is, we're all going to need health care as we get older.
Right.
We need it. That's why it's in place.
Yeah.
I think they need to understand that they're going to be taken care of regardless. And not only in this country, but also if their native country, if they leave and have citizenship somewhere, they can come back and have health care. Because like we said, we have a big influence of Latino players that are there, that are in baseball, that are doing their thing, that aren't from this country. They're from Puerto Rico, they're from Cuba, they're from wherever they're at. They should still be able to have the access to say, if I'll come back, I can depend on what I've done for baseball for all those years and made all that money, that they're going to be able to help take care of me health-wise and go. And I'm not talking about, like I said, the rich ones. I'm talking about the ones that aren't rich, because there's more that are not rich than the ones that are. So there's got to be a balance.
Cashing them big old checks, right?
There's got to be there's got to be a balance to that. So I hope those are the discussions. I mean, I watched a little bit of TV on it, but I mean, I can't really figure out what's the big holdmate except for money.
Right.
Who gets more money, but I don't know if they're saying more money in my pocket or more money, like I said, to the collective bargaining thing, so we can take care of people or we can take care of our players. They haven't said where those funds are supposed to be allowed for the more money they want.
Yeah. Baseball's real secretive, right? We hear about what goes on at the owners' meetings at the NFL side all the time, right? We know exactly what they're talking about. Even if it maybe it's supposed to be secret or not, but that stuff gets leaked out. But we don't know if they're talking about divvying up the cash across the teams, if they're talking about shortening, elongating game, doing whatever. It's real. There's a lot of superstition in baseball. It is, and it's unnecessary, but it really is.
But you mentioned that, I did see one thing to talk about the larger market teams getting more of a cap, because the cost of living is more in the larger markets or something like that. I don't know. I know that was that's a sticker point for sure, because smaller market teams are like, hold on, man, you guys can just hoard all the players because you can pay more out of the cap than we can. So I know that was one of the sticking points. I don't even know how that's justified. Dude, they all make millions of dollars, so it don't matter where you live. It ain't no cost of living difference when you're making millions and millions, except for the tax break. Obviously, I wouldn't play in Florida if I was anybody, Florida, Texas. But
or have my residence in Florida. Right? I can play wherever I want to, but my house is in Florida.
But I know that was one of the sticking points, but I'm hoping it's not that selfish on the players' collective bargaining.
Gotcha.
I hope it isn't just, it's like, and on the owners too. I hope it's just not something that's that selfish. I hope they're talking about, hey, what can we do to help the long-term part of baseball and the long-term players that have been here, and let's help them out. Kind of like how basketball's done, how football's talking about it now more so than ever. Let's take care of the OGs, we should say, that paved the way for us to play now, and let's make sure we have something intact, so when things don't work out that way, they can come back here and at very least have health care.
At the minimum, that's what you want. At a minimum, you gotta have that, because you always, it's like insurance. You gotta have it just in case.
Gotta have it. You gotta have it.
All right. Let's go. Let's get into Art Browse. Let's talk about this interesting I'm gonna spotlight you, brother, because this is an interesting story, and I kind of want you to break it down for the people in the back of the room.
Okay.
About what's happening
Yeah,
with Art Browse and Grambling.
absolutely, absolutely. So Art Browse is the former head coach at Baylor, University of Baylor. Just recently got hired as the offensive coordinator at Grambling State. After he was let go based on some foul things that went on at Baylor State. And the foul things that went on, I think one of the major things that went on is that he didn't report a really bad culture that was going on at Baylor. And what I mean by this really bad culture is that when he was at Baylor, him and the AD didn't report to NCAA or didn't report to the law that there was basically a lot of rapes amongst his players and amongst the student body. So, and to cap the number off, 31 of his players were accused of 52 rapes. I'll repeat that again. 31 players were accused of 52 rapes, and they weren't reported under his leadership as the head coach. So, with that being said, they did an investigation. He got fired. And then turn around, Hugh Jackson hires this man. You know, he worked in high school as a head coach, and then he turned around and then Hugh Jackson hires this man as the offensive coordinator. And now he's been met with a lot of resistance. So now he's going to step down and not be the offensive coordinator, which is great. But epic fail on Hugh Jackson's part. Number one.
Yeah.
Epic fail. To bring this young man into any college to kind of do that where he already failed as a leader in that point. I think he failed, you know, not only the program, but he failed the young men that he was supposed to be coaching and taking care of within that system. He failed the NCAA because he failed to report it. He failed the campus of Baylor, which is still being punished right now and sanctioned right now for scholarships and whatnot. Browse just failed. Now, I don't know the man personally at all. He could be a great guy, could be a great OC. But the fact of the matter, you're a victim of the things you did. You did not report these actions going on at the school amongst your players because you trumped winning football games over basic humanity, especially when these men were assaulting women on campus. Yeah. And you just chose to turn the other head and not report it. I wouldn't want that person on my campus.
So why? You know, and so there's the question, and so thanks for going deep into that, because here's the question that I ask, and I'm really wondering why is he still coaching? Why is he just being shoveled around, pushed around to other, I'm gonna call high profile types of programs, and still managing, leading, coaching, being a motivational leader, so to speak, for young men out there on the playing field. Why does he still have a job when these types of accusations are out there about what has happened under his tutelage, right?
Yeah, I don't understand it. I don't
think there no more coaches? Are there no?
No, there's plenty of coaches out there. That's the problem. There's plenty of coaches out there, and I don't know why he chose him. Yeah. Let's keep it 100.
Yeah,
the coaching environment and the coaching lifestyle is who you know. It's a nepotism. Who you know, what you know, not what you know, but who you know. Kind of fraternity amongst them. And I'm sure I believe Browse is probably Hugh Jackson's friend and knows him and know him pretty well and wanted to give him an opportunity. The one great thing about cancel culture, they identified it and put the press on to make sure he's not a coach over there at Grambling State. Now, I say it's a huge epic fail for Hugh Jackson is because what right parent will want to send their kid to be coached by this man,
right? And
to ignore if my son is doing wrongdoings and not fix it.
Yeah,
there's a difference. I mean, there's a difference. They say, hey, one guy, one bad seed committed rape, and we reported it, and it's all gone.
Mm-hmm.
You guys, 31 of his players are accused of 52 rapes. That means a couple of them did multiple rapes on women on campus.
Exactly, yeah.
And the fact of the matter, you didn't take any action to correct this behavior, correct this thing, and let it go on because you continue to want to win football games. There's the problem. I love football. I do. I love football it's helped me provide everything I got in my life.
Mm-hmm. But
not at the expense of raping somebody.
Yeah. All right. Where are your priorities, right, Coach?
Exactly.
Right? If you're more worried about the X's and O's and the W's and L's, as opposed to the women that were involved in this, and even the men that were involved in this, right? Because you think that they need some guidance, some assistance, or whatever, or just may need to be put behind bars for a little while. But still, just by pushing it under the rug, and worrying about who you suiting up against next weekend, as opposed to again taking care of the trauma that individuals on your team have been causing some other folks within the campus society. I just don't understand why he's not locked up for something. I don't know what.
Well, I mean,
again, and I don't know what, but you know, I don't know why he's not put in juvie for a minute.
He didn't physically do anything. He didn't physically do the rape.
I'm not saying accessory. I mean, I don't know. I don't know the law to that level.
But I do believe he needs to be punished, and punished to a point where, you can't come and coach college football, or you're definitely not going to coach it on a large scale program because you enable that behavior.
Yeah.
That's the problem. It's not the problem that he coached. You enable that behavior because you didn't report them and you knowingly knew about it. So you just covered up, 31 men committing crimes against 52 women. And I can't take credit that I know all that stuff. Joy Taylor, she's the one, and I hate to give a shout out, but Joy Taylor's the one that kind of brought it to our attention on her podcast, and I think she was talking about, these women now, these 52 women have to relive this situation over and over again.
All the time. Yeah.
But as long as he's in the media about not getting a job at Grambling and he's on a highlight reel, or somebody's talking about him, even like us, these women have to relive this ordeal again that happened under his watch. And under his watch, meaning he was the leader of these men, he was the head coach. He had the power to report it. He had the power to pull the scholarship. He had the power to kick those guys off the team and get them out of school.
Yeah.
He chose not to because he wanted to win football games. And that's the bigger problem. That's the bigger issue.
Sad, man. It's sad. We'll see what happens. What is this? This is the board's next meeting is set for April 28th. We'll see what happens come out of that conversation. Probably nothing. Probably still going to be on the roster as a coach, but still around these young men and not really taking ownership of it.
They said, I mean, there's mixed communications. Some people say he's resigned. Some people said he rescinded his resignation. He still wants to try to coach. He wants to, stick by the guns. My biggest thing is not him getting hired or that. My problem on this whole thing is Hugh Jackson. Like, where are you not doing your homework?
Right.
And why would you bring something like this to a campus, to a job that's a new job for you at an HBCU, who's giving kind of your second fresh start? And I know they kind of gave you the reins to do what you want to do. But at the same time, why aren't you need to pay attention to what these people's background and what's going on as well. Why would you bring somebody like that into the new culture you're trying to build?
Yeah.
And
especially now that we've got a lot of positive light showing on HBCUs with what Coach Sanders is doing right now. You bring this madness home, and now this is what we're talking about, and it's it all falls under the umbrella. That's just what's going to happen. Folks going to say, oh, this is what's going on at HBCUs, as even though it wasn't there, it was at Baylor. But yeah, you're right. We don't need this negative. We don't need this smoke coming when we're trying to have more positive.
Well, I wouldn't say you don't need this period in any program. Yeah. But I'm wondering where Hugh Jackson's mind is at. Like, why would you like? You had to know about the allegations. If it was just the allegations, it wasn't charges. You had to know about the allegations. You knew he was fired for Baylor. You knew he was fired for Baylor for a sexual misconduct investigation.
Yeah.
So why would you say I'm going to bring that to my job? That's like you bringing somebody to your job that is a computer hacker.
Not going to do it.
You know he's a hacker, but he's been charged with being a hacker. He's been investigated for hacker. But you're like, I'm going to bring him on board so he can go ahead and get down and do his thing and take all these people's personal information and leak it out to the world. That just doesn't make any sense to me. I mean, that's just poor judgment on Hugh Jackson's fault. And I really wish he would step up and say something. Like, instead of just running behind the shadows and like, he's like, I'm sticking to my guns or whatever. Why don't you come out and speak as well and say, you know what? Hey, he's a friend of mine. I thought this was going to be a great opportunity for him to kind of rebuild his career. But evidently I was wrong. I didn't realize the ramifications of the charges, the things that was going on, and blah, 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 and keep it moving. Why ain't he owning up to this shit? That's my problem. Excuse my point.
No,
Why he ain't
I mean,
on
I'm
enough field?
looking to see if there's been anything coming out of Jackson, and
Not
he
one
hasn't
word.
said anything in the rags as of late. Just trying to be quiet about it, which it's not gonna go away.
Yeah.
This is not
He
something
gonna want it to
that's
go
going.
away. Yeah, yeah, he wants it to go away, but it's not, man. I mean, own it, man. Own it. Either you made it, either hey, I want to stick by my friend. I want to give him a job. I would appreciate either way he felt on the side of the fence. If he said, that's my friend. He's a great coach. I want him to be, I want to be a part of a program. I know he's a great mentor to the kids. I want to give him a second chance. I would accept that. I would like, okay, I get where you're coming from. But for you to say be ghost and not say anything, knowing all these things that this man has been charged, or not charged, but he's been associated with all these other things, and being quiet doesn't help. You're not giving any explanation. So there's where I lie with Hugh Jackson. That's a big problem to me.
Yeah, and here, I mean, as you were talking, I pulled this up. Hugh put out this tweet using the Hugh Jackson Foundation, talking about hashtag forgiveness, redemption, enlightenment, and the Graham fam to show his support for his decision to hire Art Briles. And he puts out this long letter to the state of that, which is no forgiveness. We believe that all are deserving of forgiveness, and without it, healing can't begin. No, man. Well,
wait. But let me pause on that.
Let me.
If that
I'll
was
make
his
it bigger
daughter,
too,
his
so
daughter was
folks
one
can
of those
see.
52 victims. If his daughter was one of those 52 victims, would he
That's where I was gonna say, right? Let it come into your house, right? Let you be directly involved instead of indirectly. Let this actually be one of your children that's been affected by this. You're gonna have some different words for sure. You're gonna have
yeah, man. I
forgiveness.
mean,
We believe that all are deserving of forgiveness, and without it, healing can't begin. No, man.
No, I think he was looking. I mean, don't get me wrong. I believe in redemption, and I believe people can overcome, and I do believe in forgiveness of certain things. But I also believe you need to be relatively aware of your surroundings where you're at. You're gonna this guy again ignored these incidents happening under his watch, under his program, where he had the power to make change and he didn't. Whatever the case may be, that's fine. But he made a choice not to report those. He made a choice not to give it, to have the AD do it. He made a choice to choose football over those 52 victims.
Yeah.
He made those choices. So unfortunately, when you make choices, right or wrong or indifferent, you have to suffer consequences. One of the consequences is, unfortunately, you can't coach at this level anymore.
That's true. And look, as we're digging into this, I see Hugh and Briles have known each other for a while, because looking at that bottom line, Hugh Jackson defends Art Briles in the 2016 when he was coach of the Browns. So I'm hesitant to even look and see what that was back in 2016. I don't even want to go down that. That may be some TMZ type stuff. So I'm gonna stay away. But there we go, right there. So this is probably a pattern with this person. So yeah, he's done his research and he knows that Briles has had issues with whatever the case may be. I'm gonna bring it up. Hold on. I'm gonna take it off the screen. And
you trying to get it hot.
Yeah, I'm gonna take it off the screen and just see what this is right here. Oh my God, Hugh Jackson's been in Art Briles' corner before. Briles was fired from Baylor in May of 2016. Oh no, so that was about that. But oh my God, I don't know. I'll read it later. I'll figure it out. But a pattern of I don't know, whatever you want to call it, of malfeasance. Never use that word. I don't even know how to spell it, so don't ask me how to spell it. God,
well, I mean, man, like I said, man, ignoring and choose. Like I said, you chose football over those 52 victims. Yeah. You chose to protect those 31 people that were wrong over those 52 victims when you had the power to control it. Control the narrative, at least correct the narrative after one or two. 31? Come on, man, 31.
Yeah, you can't ignore that.
That's crazy.
You can't ignore that. Them numbers.
You can't ignore that. You can't even bother. You can't say anything to make me want to understand that. That's why you were fired. That's why the AD was fired, because you both covered it up. And you had, like I said, you had the power to stop it and correct it and all that stuff. That bothers me. And you want me to let my child come play for you? I mean, at this point, I don't really care about X's and O's. I'm questioning your character.
Yeah.
Because you're not going to teach my child. You're not going to teach my child right from wrong. You're going to cover up what if he does something if he's a player on your team. Your job is to help raise these young men.
Don't be surprised if a handful of folks go to the extreme and change their location, right? Decide to transfer. I don't know if it'll be a whole lot, But right, don't be surprised. I guess if a couple of kids and families say, we don't even want to be in the same breath as Grambling and Baylor right now.
Brother, man, if I was in the HBC world and Coach Biles was playing for them, I wouldn't even go so far as I probably wouldn't play them.
Wow.
Because I wouldn't support it as a team. I would be like, we'll take the forfeit. We're not going to play against you because I'm not going to. Because I'm not going to support that, man. I'm not going to support where we're going to choose covering up acts of crime for football.
Yeah.
They can call me old. I mean, I'm old school, obviously. That all that other stuff the kids want to talk about. But at the bottom line, I'm looking at it from, I have a daughter.
Mm-hmm.
I have 3 daughters. Though one of those victims were my daughter, and I know this man could have stopped it. He could have, that person raped one girl, and then all of a sudden he raped my daughter, and you knew about the first girl, you didn't do anything about it.
Yeah.
Hey, yo,
they're gonna be a problem for sure.
It's gonna be a problem.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the fact of the matter, you didn't do anything about it. You knew that this person has raped one victim. You didn't do anything. He kept playing football. Life was his glory. He was going about his business. And then he rapes another person that might have been my daughter or could have been my daughter. I have a really serious problem with that. I have a real problem, real issue with that. So that's where I'm coming from. If I was a coach at HBCU and Gremlin was on my schedule, if he's the head coach, we're not playing him. And I would reiterate that throughout my whole program. The AD, if the AD wanted to fire me because I said I'm not going to play him, then he could fire me. But I would take that stand. There's no way. I'm not going to support it.
No, I guarantee you definitely have more support from your constituents and your school and your boosters and everyone around you if you were caught up in that situation. So I see a lot of folks. I know we got folks watching this on Twitter. It's a shame you can't comment. Come on over to YouTube. I see folks on the other social networks too. Chime in. We're getting into it. Don't be bashful. Don't be bashful. But what else is going on? We're getting ready to get into March Madness. I think.
Yep.
I think I've been watching a few games ever since Coach Howard got into his little stuff with Wisconsin, just to see if there's going to be some more fisticuffs. But there haven't been. They've there've been some late timeouts. There've been some questionable calls, but there haven't been anybody throwing blows or trying to choke nobody out. But we'll see. Right now I speak about that because Wisconsin is playing Purdue right now. They're winning at halftime. We'll see how that all works out. Georgetown isn't doing good. Was watching Coach Ewing and they're not. They're just not doing good. So
Coach Ewing got a lot of things going on with that program. I think Georgetown. I think remember the pattern of the Georgetown, the Dukes, the North Carolinas, them being powerhouses are kind of a forgotten piece because we know college players don't stay. Good college players are going pro don't stay forever no more.
Yeah,
they're not cultivated in programs. They go 1 and they're done, 2 and they're done. While we have the Gonzagas and the Butlers, their players stay for 4 years. That's why they're so good.
True.
Coming into the tournament, they have a pipeline that's coming through. I think with Patrick Ewing it's hard for him to kind of build that program. I think it takes time. Remember Gonzaga and them and Butlers and all those programs that we see, the University of St. Mary's, those programs took forever to get to where they're at. It took them years and years and years and years. And that's the new stage of college basketball. It takes a long time to build those programs unless you want to go get the one and dones and have your program go up and down. And Georgetown right now has not got that one guy that can kind of do it, or those 2 superstars that can do it. It takes a tremendous amount of time. I think if Georgetown fires him, or they get rid of him, or he get let go, I think it will be a travesty because Patrick Ewing is Georgetown.
Yeah,
he's the ultimate symbol. If it ain't John Thompson, it's Patrick Ewing.
Yeah,
and I think again, I think he can do it. I think they just got to give him time and let him execute and let him figure out what he wants to do as far as bringing players in there and how he wants to go out and get them and make sure he gets those guys there. We're gonna see the same thing happen to Duke. When Coach Krzyzewski's gone, they're gonna have a hard time rebuilding their program. We saw North Carolina. North Carolina hasn't been the same since Dean Smith left. Roy Williams did okay, but they haven't been the same since Dean Smith left at all. So when you replace an iconic coach like John Thompson and all those, and then I think it just takes them a lot of time to kind of just rebuild that program and get it back to where it wants to be. Connecticut hasn't been the same since their coach left. Remember St. John's coach? He gone. They haven't been the same. Remember, the Big East used to be the powerhouse.
Syracuse used to be. I mean, I used to talk about Ronnie
Yeah,
Cycli all the
Syracuse,
time back in the
exactly.
day.
Yeah,
Yeah, we dating ourselves now talking about Ronnie Cycli and Syracuse. But
well, I mean, I don't mind dating myself, but I mean, I think people need to understand the one thing we do have in our culture that we don't have patience.
Ooh.
You know, especially we want instant gratification.
Talk about that.
We want to do it now. We want to do it now. I think in programs like that, you have to have patience because Rome wasn't built overnight. You can't build a program on it. No one's going to come because of Patrick Ewing. We know Patrick Ewing. The kids don't know Patrick Ewing.
Yeah.
Your 18-year-old don't know who Patrick Ewing is.
True.
Mine,
yeah.
Mine don't know who he is unless I bring him up on YouTube. So I think that he needs to be instilling and get out and talk and be like, hey, I want to bring this great again and recruit the right players and find that diamond in the rough to help bring the program back into the tournament. But those are the difference between the Gonzagas and now the Georgetowns. The Gonzaga has guys that people didn't want, but they're going to stay there for 4 years and they get better and better and better. And by the time they're sophomore, junior year, they're playing and they're in this program and everything stays the same. If North Carolina gets a good player, he's there for 1 year, he's out.
Yeah. No, you're absolutely right about that. I mean, I'm sitting here thinking about it. And I'm looking at kind of the standings and the rankings, right? Duke is at 4, Kentucky's at 7, and that just seems low for Kentucky, right? They just have been dominant for so long, and for them to be down at that level. And then where was the other one I was looking for? Where was Kansas? Kansas was down significantly as well compared to what, again, 6. But again, when you think of the folks making it to Sweet 16, making it all the way through.
You know what's a prime example, though? James, was a prime example? USC. USC's been horrible in basketball up to last year.
Yeah.
Up to last year, they got pretty good.
Yeah. Yeah.
That program has been
won. They just won against Milwaukee. So, no, I'm looking at UIC. My fault. Yeah. But go ahead.
Yeah, but I'm saying USC's been traditionally a bad program, historically bad program
USC
in basketball.
Yeah.
And now they got good, so they figured out a formula to get themselves great. UCLA has been pretty good, but Cal Berkeley hasn't been good since Jason Kidd and them guys were there.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. So people don't understand. It takes time to build that program. I think if Georgetown fires John Thompson because he hasn't got instant gratification or haven't made the instant oatmeal yet, they need to slow down and let them boil a little bit. And let them get some. You know, the kind you got to boil like
grits, let them grits simmer. Like Grandma told you how to do them.
We don't have a lot of patience with those guys, and I think in basketball, when you get to that level, I mean, a lot of development has to go into play. A lot of kids coming out of high school are very raw. He wants to fit them in the system, and Patrick Ewing, I'm pretty sure, wants to get those guys all pro ready, be able to play in the pro game. Well, that takes development. There's not a lot of kids that come in high school that are professional ready. I think in all college sports, they run, especially Division I, they've run out of the patience. They want now. We got to win now. We want guys that can come and play right now, coming as a freshman and do the thing. Football's a little bit different because of the attributes, but basketball is really attribute driven. There's only so many 7-footers you can find across the country.
True. Yeah.
So if he doesn't land one, he can't do what he really wants to do just yet. Got to wait till he lands one and gets somebody and does this thing. So, I mean, they just a little patience, man. I think I think everything will work itself out.
It's crazy, right? It's mindset too, right? I mean, it's patience and now they have other incentives as well, right? So we started from day 0 talking about NIL, right? So if I'm not getting paid for me being out here in this neighborhood doing something, bagging groceries at the Piggly Wiggly or wherever I'm at. I'm gonna go to Florida. I'm gonna go to Los Angeles. I'm gonna go to some of these other places where they will give me some money, even though we may be losing. And that, I mean, you can't foresee that, right? I don't think a program thought about that ahead of time. That, man, now we got to deal with these both sides of this monster here. Yeah, we got to build up our program and get some folks out here that can ball. Whatever.
Well, the NIL put the I in team now. It's the I. That's the I in the team. I want to get paid. I want to get paid. I want to make money. I want to do these things. I don't. The team is important to me, but the I is more important right now because I want to make some money.
Bro, and rightfully so. That's profound right there. That's crazy that you just said that. Okay.
It's true, man. You can put that on one of them shirts.
Yeah, no,
And
no.
I put the I
Look,
in team.
I'm over here writing it down right now. I'm putting a little
Yeah.
mental note. That's gonna be the audiogram tomorrow morning.
But I believe though. I mean, you know, big markets are always going. We talked about it before. The bigger markets are going to relish in it. When it becomes that kind of situation, the smaller markets are going to suffer. Georgetown, you know, per se, is in a smaller market. It's in DC. It's not in the big city like Syracuse and everybody, or not Syracuse, but it's not in the big city like Georgetown. I mean, not Georgetown, but Georgia Tech, who's in Atlanta. It's not like SC that's in LA. It's not like Washington, who's in Seattle. You know, it's in a small part of DC. So he won't be able to attract those kind of players because he won't be able to generate those kind of things. You know, I think eventually, in the long term, places like Kentucky and Kansas won't be able to do it. They won't be able to compete with the big cities if it starts to become who has the better NIL, who has the most money. They won't win. It won't. Eventually, you know, the laws of averages will take over. And everybody's gonna go where the money's going in, right?
True.
So the players are gonna go to the biggest cities, who has the most money, and everybody else is gonna be left with whatever.
God, that makes too much sense. It's too easy, right? It sounds so easy, but it makes all the sense in the world. But that is the way that the world is turning. So,
yeah.
I'll tell you what, let's go with this next story, this last story, and I'm gonna throw this one on you. I see how you feel about it, but I'm gonna give a little shout out to Andy Reid, Coach Andy Reid, because he recognizes greatness, right? Coach Reid is surprised that the enemy is coming back, right? As OC for Kansas City, Coach Andy Reid could have swore that Eric Bieniemy would have had him a head coaching job, and he is on record coming out in public and saying that. So, shouts out to Andy Reid for recognizing diamond in the rough, right? Greatness and someone who should be elevated to that next level within the sport, and I guess it is what it is. We're happy that Coach Bieniemy has a job and he's still out there doing some big things. But man, he's knocking at the door, and someone just needs to give him that opportunity. The resume is speaking for itself, and he's got a Super Bowl winning coach as his reference right here. Why is this man not getting that call, right? Why is he not getting that call to go to the Saints or to the Giants or some of them other squads that could use well, I'm not going to talk about nobody's team.
Me and you both don't know. We don't know. It's something. The reason why they say he's not getting the job, I have no reason why. It's like you said, his resume does. Brian Leftwich's resume speaks volumes as well. You know, these guys got great resumes, and the league just does not want to hire him. And I'll say it again, and I'll say it out loud. NFL has a problem, I think a lot of owners have a problem having a man of color being the leader of their program. I think they have a problem with that.
Yeah.
Obviously, a couple don't. You know, a few don't. We know the Steelers don't. The Rooney, they don't mind it at all.
Rooney,
but everybody else,
everybody
else seems to have an issue with it. You know, a lot of people have an issue. You know, let's go to the Raiders quarterback. I mean, the Raiders coach, the Hispanic guy,
the guy who got into the playoffs,
did a great job. I mean, I don't think people understand everything he had to deal with Henry Ruggs and his accident in that manslaughter thing, the stuff he had to go through with Gruden and all that racist stuff that was going on with Gruden and him getting fired and Gruden suing him and the whole change of dynamic. And he still led them to the playoffs after being a coach there for I don't know how many years. And you still don't give the man the opportunity to that he earned his roses to give him the job. Again, I can't chalk it up to nothing that you don't want him to be the face of your franchise, because you can't say he's not qualified.
True.
He just led the team. He was coaching the actual team. He was doing it as a head coach.
Yep. Winning too.
Winning. Yeah, he's winning. So got you to the playoffs, got you over the hump where you haven't been before, and you let him go for Jeff McDaniels.
That doesn't sound right coming out your mouth, man. God.
No, but I mean, let's. I mean, we got to keep it 100. I mean, if we team no sleep, we got to keep it 100 and be very transparent.
Right.
There's obviously an issue of they having men of color represent them. Again, we've been through this situation with quarterbacks for the longest time. They didn't allow blacks and Latinos and Polynesians to be quarterbacks.
Quite true.
Now we do, but even that, even the ones that we do, they have a short window. Mariota was in Tennessee. Oh, as soon as they can get him out. They got him out of there. Mark Sanchez was a quarterback of the Jets. Oh, he's not. He's get him out of there. Why? But we see white quarterbacks like Foley bounce around everywhere all day, every day.
He said Nick Foley. Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm just saying.
Wow.
How these situations? How do we get such a short window in a short period of time to do things? But these, they get multiple chances. And the only thing I contribute is because they're the face of the franchise. They're usually the face of the team. There's a problem there. Let's be honest with you.
Let me throw a wrench in the conversation. Let me ask you, since we're naming names, what do you think about RG3, Robert Griffin? Did he get enough chances, or was it just that he wasn't good enough?
He got hurt. He's too not durable enough. I thought he was just not durable.
That's kind of what I was thinking about. I just didn't think, honestly, because I was thinking about he had a couple of opportunities, but I just don't know if he was.
He just can't stay healthy. Yeah, I mean, every time he got hit, he was hurt. Yeah, and he always wanted to run. So
missed the glass out there. Yeah.
I mean, he had a great phenomenal rookie year.
Yeah.
He did great, and then he got his leg. Remember, his leg got built back real twisted, real messed up, and messed up his knee. And he wasn't the same ever since that part.
No, you're right. Okay.
But I'm saying, what else can it be attributed to? We have people consistently proving themselves, and then all of a sudden they don't get the job. They don't have the job anymore. The man over in Miami, coach, winning, changed the franchise. Everything you said he couldn't do, he was doing.
Mm-hmm.
You said he couldn't win with Tua, he won with Tua.
Right.
You said he couldn't build a program. He had one of the best defenses in the league. Granted, they missed the playoffs, but they were right there, and they were going on the upward swing. You fire Mr. Flores. We go to the coach in Houston, the African-American coach that was in Houston. We ain't talking about love, we talk about freedom. You give him nothing. He does the best he can do when he really doesn't have that many players. The players seem to love him, but now you get rid of him. Well, I don't even know why you hired him in the first place. If you didn't really want him there, why did you even hire him? He got 1 year. He got a 1 year chance to do his thing. Got the coach in the Raiders, same thing. Came in as an interim and did his thing and did very, very well of it. Now you're fired. So why is that the case? I'm not understanding why it's the case where we got guys that are getting the Detroit jobs and getting these other jobs that don't even qualify. Let's remember, if the Texans wouldn't have hired Lovie Smith, if McCown wasn't in that trouble, he was the number one front runner. He's never coached a day in football in his life.
Goodness gracious!
So
you talking truth here.
No,
okay. You talking truth.
No, I'm just speaking to everything everybody knows. So tell me what the common denominator or the differentiator, I should say the differentiator, let me clear myself, is the skin tone. It's not X's and O's, because everybody knows X's and O's. It's the skin tone and my last name or my first name that makes me different. That's it. If we were behind, I guarantee if you had interviews behind a blind wall and you couldn't see, and they were just spitting and drawing out what they needed to do and what their philosophy was, I guarantee Eric Bieniemy would have a job in a heartbeat. He'd be probably one of the most qualified guys there, because he's been to every point. He's been when they were losing, all the way to when they won the Super Bowl multiple times.
Yeah.
So he knows every game. He knows every spectrum of the game from an offensive standpoint and how to be a leader. So you mean to tell me if you didn't know his name was Eric Bieniemy and you put a blind shield there and you say, please speak about this job, why you're the best person for the job, and he drew it up on there, that he wouldn't be better qualified than some of these guys? Yeah. You mean to tell me he's not better qualified than the Jets new head coach or the Giants head coach?
Yeah, see, exactly. That's why I mentioned them when I opened it up. Yeah, because it's a shame, to be honest with you, and it's long overdue. It's ridiculous. It's embarrassing.
But I got even one better for you. Why New Orleans Saints? They don't have a head coach right now with Sean Payton.
Yeah, Payton's gone.
The city of New Orleans is predominantly African American.
True.
Black or people of color, I should say.
Yep.
And you don't even interview Eric Bieniemy? You don't interview Brian Leftwich to be your head coach? I think what their owner is Art Modell. No, is his name Art? Well, I forgot his name. I forgot their owner's name. But their owner can't say, hey, you know what? We can't bring a qualified man of color in here to help lead our program after Sean Payton.
Ooh-wee.
We already know Jerry Jones is not hiring no African American.
Well, you know he's not going over there. That's true. So don't even bring that New Orleans Saints on.
But I'm saying Jerry Jones is not going to do it. We already know. I mean, as much as people like the Dallas Cowboys, their front office.
Hold on. The Saints are owned by Gail Benson, owned by American billionaire businesswoman and sports franchisee. That's Gail. You thinking of, I think, the owner of the Atlanta team, Falcons. Yeah,
Atlanta Falcons.
yeah. Okay, but yeah,
yeah,
but
yeah.
I hear what you're saying. Yep.
Yeah, I don't understand. I'm not saying that you. I'm not even saying you necessarily have to hire him, but why is he not even being interviewed by you? That doesn't make any sense. Him or Leftwich or anybody. Why are they not at least getting an interview?
Yeah.
And believe it or not, in that front office, if they bring somebody she doesn't like, all she has to do is make a call and say they're not a candidate.
That's true.
So there's either a problem with her being the owner or a problem with somebody in her front office and her general manager. They don't want to give a qualified person an opportunity to do for the job.
Crazy.
You know, and that's crazy because Brian Leftwich and both Eric Bieniemy played in the league and now coached teams to Super Bowls.
Yeah, know the league, no ins and outs, got respect of folks on both sides of the ball. So yeah, it's what's that? What else has got to take?
You tell me what. Wait. Now you heard my point. What is the differentiator in your opinion? What is it? What? Tell me what's going on.
No,
in your opinion.
I 100% agree. Right, and it's a shame that that's what it is. 2022, that it's still not based on the merit of the man's qualifications and his character. It's based on what the man looks like, and that literally is what it is. It's still an old boys club in a lot of these sports and a lot of these leagues. And if we, I'm gonna just say it as third person looking in. If we let you in this room, right, we know the whole dynamic is going to change, right? If we let you at the coaching table, if we let you at the owner's table, then we, speaking of who's in control right now, starts losing power, losing control, and I don't think they really want that at all, right? Bringing in our mindset, bringing in our schemes, our conversations, our plans, and our thoughts. I just don't think that the powers that be, the 32 teams that have and their owners want none of that right now, and that's, I think it's terrible. I think it's sad, but I completely agree with that is the limiting factor. Because again, if you, like you said, if you put a curtain in front of me and just had me draw on the whiteboard my X's and O's and my go over my top 5 plays in the playbook and how I would approach specific situations, the enemy would win every single time backwards, writing with his left hand. But, you get him to peek around that corner and say, look at me, this is me. Oh, wait a minute. So, it's
it's crazy to this conversation because I just saw the podcast with Shannon Sharp and Damon Dash. Damon Dash. Damon Dash is getting into the sports industry now. He's getting into the sports industry. He said he wants to be an owner eventually, but not of an NFL team because he feels the NFL is nothing wrong, but he feels he wants to own his own league and have something to compete against the NFL, to have young men and young people be a part of this league to do things the right way, or per se a different way than what they're doing in the NFL.
Okay.
He had some interesting perspective. He was just saying that they never let us in the room for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
They don't let us in the room for a reason, and the only way to change that narrative is to create something competitive against it. Because if you don't give an alternative
the house,
to
put
it,
the room in it yourself, right?
yeah. Because if you don't give an alternative, nothing will change, right?
Yeah.
If you don't give anybody an alternative to water, everyone drinks water every day. That's the only thing we have to drink.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
He's saying if I give you an opportunity to drink milk, sparkling water, soda, and all that stuff, now you have choices. Now you can make these things and you can make change because the way you create your product, the way you do the product is different. And he owns an arena league out in Tampa Bay. He owns an arena league right now.
Okay.
He said he's starting off with an arena league. I thought it was very interesting the way he's approaching it. And he's saying, you know what? And what I didn't know, he tried to buy a team before. When he was at the top of him and Jay-Z, when they were at the top of their team, he tried to buy a team before, and he said the NFL completely shunned him out.
Wow.
So the NFL owners, this is a pattern. Like, we're just kind of getting noticed of like how these people are trying to get in. Well, this has been going on for more than I think we know. And I'm talking about our hip hop generation in the last 20 years have tried to buy in as well or try to get in as well. as a majority owner? And the answer's been no every time.
Yeah.
No way.
That's crazy, but I think that's cool because I like what he's doing, and that just reminded me of what's going on with Natalie Portman and Serena Williams, right? So they're part of a women's group, women's organization consortium that is buying and creating a soccer team. There's no team down in there in Los Angeles, and they are actually buying a team, putting one together, and it's all led by this group of women, a diverse group of women investors and leaders. So it seems like the entertainment field is coming through and providing that other house with that other room, where the major leagues, the NFLs, the NBAs, the MLBs, things like that, eventually gonna have to pay attention to. Right, you think about Ice Cube when he came on with the 3-on-3. Right, again, it's coming from the entertainment field where they got the extra cash and extra funds to do this. But he came up with that, bought a lot of cats out of retirement. Still, some of them could barely run up and down the court, but it was good to see some of the old cats out there doing what they do. But it's coming from a different mindset. It's coming from someone who, I don't know, relates to a different generation.
Well, can we chalk it up to now that the business that they shut us out somewhere, we're now learning it, and now that we're learning the business, now we're like saying, "Hey, we've learned it, we understand it."
Yeah.
You know what? Now we want to be a part of it.
Mess around and give us some knowledge, and next thing you know, we can get some of these plaques and some of these degrees on our wall too. Yeah.
I mean, and it's crazy that we're talking about this because he correlated to the music industry as well. He was like, before we didn't own any music industries.
Yeah.
Now, we were able to kick down the door and own our industry. Before we didn't own any masters. Yeah. We learned how to own our own masters when we got in the industry. He said it's a learning. When you learn something and you pick that knowledge up and you like it, you want to know more and want to have more of it.
Yeah.
So he's like, since the way we broke down, we broke it into the music industry and now the entertainment industry with Tyler Perry and all these people owning their stuff, and 50 Cent and all the things he's owning and all that stuff. Now he's like, it's time for us to kind of take our game and this knowledge to the professional realm as far as sports is concerned, which I think would be really impactful. And like I said, giving any other person an opportunity to play professional, play the sport they love and get paid for it is always a blessing.
Yeah.
But to be able to provide another alternative and maybe do it in a unique way, I don't think his lifetime will he ever see himself as a competitor of the NFL. But to provide another alternative that does it, yes, absolutely. Yeah. I would definitely be supportive of that. And I'm hoping that he and his guys buy either one of the USFL teams or buys an XFL team, and supports that and shows us how to run it. And the ownership, we talked about this before. I think those are breeding grounds for us to get ownership and learn how to be owners.
Exactly.
And perfect how to be ownerships in these smaller leagues and develop them and hopefully blossom them to be big. If I was a guy, I would buy into the XFL what the Rock is going to do, because of his popularity, it's going to be a big league right off the bat. So if you can get in there and buy a team and cultivate that the way you want to and win and attract players and start driving fans and TV time to make that money to make it happen, then you can see it blossom and being a competitor in the NFL, I think.
There we go. There's some positivity right there, right? We started off with, and it's always the hard-hitting conversation at the beginning. We talking about, what were we talking about? We talking about players being banned, talking about war, talking about lockouts and strikes, man, and other things happening at Baylor and all, but ownership, owning them masters. That there you go, right there. There's gonna be the title for this show right here. Own your own masters.
Own your own masters, man. Own your own stuff, man. Be creative to own a little piece of your rock. God, you know what I mean? Whatever that may be, intellectual or physical. Own your own little piece of rock, too.
That's always the best. Don't wait for it. Go get it, man.
Yeah, absolutely.
See, so we didn't necessarily have, like I said, we didn't have a full run of what we thought we were going to talk about, but we went ahead and still talked for about an hour about what's really going on. Hopefully that was impactful, folks. Hopefully we came at you with something that mattered. Homie, you can take back, tell your friends about, share it with your friends too. Golly, tell somebody to come Team No Sleep on Tuesday night, 6:30 p.m. Me and Montel be getting it in. I know we probably make a lot of folks mad with what we talk about. That's what's wrong. Y'all
Man.
don't be scared now. Don't be scared.
If you ain't got no haters, you ain't doing it right. So I don't mind.
Yeah, say that one more again.
Yeah, man. If you ain't got no haters, you ain't doing it right. That's for sure. So
I love it. So I didn't tell you about this. I was going to tell you tonight. I actually met with a couple of folks who run another sport podcast, and they are possibly interested in coming online and chopping it up with us one week. So I'm hoping maybe they're watching, they're going to listen to the replay, and hopefully we didn't scare them off. And hopefully we may have some other folks chop it up and give a different perspective on Tea No Sleep one of these days, probably in the very near future. So other than that, man, I'm gonna leave. I'm gonna go do what I do. You know, I'm gonna go find me a leg press tonight and get into that. Yeah. And spend some time and relieve some of this stress. What about you, man? What you got coming up this week?
Man, just picking up my son on Friday, picking up my daughter tonight from her practicing, and get some cardio in a little bit later on, and get on that exercise bike and lift a few weights.
I ain't mad at you, brother. I ain't mad at you, brother. We got to do what we got to do. You got to take care of yourself, take care of your family, pray for the world, pray for everything that's going on, but everybody stay focused on you. All right? We out.
Absolutely.
Later, man.